begin. Your Excellency and my ITEC co-chair, Minister Alexander Kozlov, the Ambassador of the Russian Federation to South Africa, His Excellency Ambassador Robashev, members of the Russian delegation, members of the South African delegation, and guests from the media. Minister, it's indeed a great honor for me to host the 17th session of ITEC, especially as we were unable to hold the 16th ITEC session in person in 2021 due to the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. This 17th ITEC session is important for both countries as it will contribute to strengthen cooperation for the mutual benefit of our economies. I should explain to your colleagues from the media who may not be aware that ITEC has existed since 1999. It's an established economic cooperation partnership structure between the Russian Federation and the Republic of South Africa. For us, the cooperation between our two countries on economic and trade matters remains important and strategic, even as we all seek ways to recover from the devastation of the COVID-19 pandemic and to navigate the very challenging geopolitical terrain that all of us are working in. Minister, as I shared with my counterpart, Minister Lavrov, during his visit earlier this year, we as South Africa remain hopeful that we can find a diplomatic solution to the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine. We believe such a peaceful resolution will be beneficial to both countries, but also to the global community, as all of us are impacted upon, both by the sanctions as well as by the conflict. The economies of both our countries have really suffered the far-reaching effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our citizens here lost lives, lost income, lost jobs, and thus economic investment in South Africa is dynamically important to reviving our economy. So we engage international partners throughout the world, including the Russian Federation, with a view to building on current cooperation and also look at possible new areas of potential cooperation for mutual benefit. You will see, Minister, that there's a great deal of media interest in our meeting, because there are some who don't wish us to have relations with an old historical threat. We have made it clear that Russia is a friend, and we've had cooperative partnerships for many, many years, including partnerships as we combated the apartheid regime which decimated our people and our country. And while we are friends with many all over the world, we cannot become sudden enemies at the demand of others. I'm very pleased, dear Minister, that we will have an opportunity to engage on substantive issues which are important to economic growth and trade for our two countries. I believe very firmly that we will emerge from this meeting with a sense of purpose to advance this important work, and that we will build on commitments of mutual benefit that we hope to agree to during our deliberations of the 17th session of ITEC. I'm really pleased that our officials have worked very hard, having had the opportunity to meet on the 27th and 28th of March and that you have had the opportunity to meet some of our ministers. Our officials assure me that they've worked hard to advance our mutual cooperation, and I'm looking forward to hearing their detailed reports this morning. I do regret that the South Africa-Russia Business Council was unable to convene as usual during this 17th session, and I hope to see progress in the Business Council following our meeting today in order to ensure that we have enhanced business-to-business interaction in future and that they serve to promote trade and commercial ties between our two countries. This is critically important, particularly at this time of much-needed economic recovery for both our economies. Excellency Minister, let me take this opportunity to once again express my sincere appreciation and my wish for honest, productive deliberations that will take our economic cooperation to an acceptable higher level, which would reflect the excellent political bilateral relations that exist between our two countries. I also look forward to us having support from deliberations in BRICS in advancing BRICS cooperation and even further cooperation between South Africa and the Russian Federation. Dear Minister, let me conclude by thanking our officials for the hard work done and by thanking our ambassadors for steering us to this point. I wish to conclude by inviting you to present your opening remarks. Your Excellency.
Добрый день, уважаемая госпожа министр. Добрый день, уважаемые дорогие друзья. Благодаря южноафриканскую сторону за гостеприимную российской делегации Петербурга. Мы ценим дружественный доверительный характер российско-южноафриканских отношений. Конструктивно осуществляется сотрудничество Москвы и Претории на международной арене, прежде всего в ООН, БРИКС, группе 20 и ВТО. В 2023 году для председателя БРИКС мы готовы содействовать реализации приоритетов наших. Рассчитываем на поддержку Претории и реализацию
support and implement all the opportunities within the chairmanship of South Africa within the BRICS and in all the aspects, humanitarian, technical and scientific directions, as it has been from the beginning of ITEC implementation that was mentioned by Mrs. Minister. From the 16th ITEC, we signed two memorandums in the education in intellectual property and the memorandum in the youth cooperation, and there are 11 other documents, and the speedy implementation and signing of these agreements will support the creation of the legal framework for cooperation between the countries, and some of them we hope to sign within the summit of Russia-African countries, which will be in June in St. Petersburg. And we're happy that today we have the opportunity to meet in person and discuss the cooperation of economic and trade relations. And I would like, within my report in the plenary, mention some of the issues, very important. First, it's trade and economic cooperation, and the trade over between our countries by the results of 22 it was $1.3 billion, and Mr. Minister will support me that the potential of our cooperation is much larger, and they can increase and enlarge the cooperation and trade between our countries, as we discussed in our bilateral, in our brief. The sanctions, of course, they have negative influence, and that forces us to create new options in financial sphere, and I hope that in the nearest future we will have some practical solutions in this sphere. Direct ties, relations between the companies will also support the activization of the work of the Business Council of our countries, and the dialogue is growing, but of course everywhere there is unimplemented potential which we have to look at and develop, and these are the strategic directions of our cooperation. First of all, it's geology and nature use, and I would like to thank all the colleagues who supported the initiative from the Russian Federation to create the geological platform in BRICS Forum. All our countries have the largest mineral resources in the world, and we can strengthen cooperation through the discussions on the major issues, and that would give a new focus to the mineral resources, and we'll start joint programs that would be both bilateral and multilateral projects, and we have to start practical steps on the realization of the projects within the BRICS, and propose that we should start the memorandum of the BRICS countries in geological aspect, and then we have to develop the complex program of cooperation that would include the various aspects of cooperation, and I would like to propose, as we discussed with the Minister of Geology, that to start this work now and to complete it by August. That would be signed in the summit by our leaders in the framework of the cooperation. Then we look at mapping of geological deposits and evaluation of deposits, and first of all of the platinum metal group. The Russian Federation company, Rosgeology, is the state company, and a number of the scientific institutes have all the competencies and are ready for the practical work in this field. Another excuse me.
Thank you very much, Minister, for setting out those issues and for giving us a sense of your discussions with Minister Mantashe. I'm very pleased that in the context of the BRICS deliberations and planning for the agenda of BRICS, we accepted the proposal by the BRICS ministers of minerals that we should establish a BRICS geology forum, and it will meet for the first time this year. So that is very positive news, and I welcome that, because we have to ensure that we have greater control of our natural resources as countries that